Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in the Discovering Insurance show, a show where we discover roles within the insurance industry from dynamic industry professionals. I am Wani, and today we are joined by our special guest, Mr. Helmi Hamzah, Senior Fund Manager from Investment Department in Allianz, Malaysia. Helmi began his career as an investment analyst at a multinational research firm, and he is now a fund and investment expert. Helmi joined the investment department at Allianz as a senior manager in February 2022. He has more than 18 years of experience in the investment industry. At Allianz, Helmi is responsible for investment-related matters, such as managing funds and stock or sector recommendations. Prior to joining Allianz, he was a senior fund manager at a fund management company, where he was responsible for managing institutional and unit trust portfolios, covering conventionals and shariah mandates. So, Mr. Helmi, how are you?
Good morning and hello everybody.
I hope it's not too late for me to wish you Selamat Hari Raya.
Selamat Hari Raya.
I hope you had a very enjoyable Raya celebration last week.
It was nice and quiet here in KL.
Nice and quiet. Did you manage to go back to hometown?
No, I'm from KL, so just in KL.
Okay, all right. So to the audience out there, we will start our interview session with Mr. Helmi. If you have any question, please drop off your questions in this comment sections below. And then, so Mr. Helmi, we will start our interview session by a rapid fire segment.
Okay.
So which I will ask you questions and you will have to answer me whatever comes in your mind at first.
Okay.
Okay, so the first question would be, how would you describe your job?
Oh, okay. So as part of the investment team at Allianz, our job mainly is related to the performance of the funds. So we cover a sector. Everybody covers a certain sector that is on Bursa Malaysia, and based on the coverage, we come up with a stock recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we determine whether the stock is investable before we decide whether we want to buy it and put it into the portfolios. So quite a lot of reading research reports, being up to date with the market, and so that's basically the day-to-day function of the job.
Okay, interesting. Okay, the next questions. When you think of the word successful, who is the first person who comes to mind and why?
Probably in terms of obviously, in fact, comes to my family, for example. Obviously my dad and my parents. For example, my dad went to UK when he was very young, 13 years old, and then he's a sea captain by profession. And then worked his way up through the government, and then started his own business, and also can see from the beginning his how he managed. So that's probably one. And in terms of obviously the big the industry trends, people like Warren Buffett is considered somebody who's very successful, probably from an investment standpoint. He's based on his investment that he's done. Yeah.
All right. Okay. The next questions. What's some of the best advice you've ever gotten?
So we like to break it down between maybe advice that you're given to life advice, maybe an investment advice.
Yeah.
So for life advice, probably don't get too highs during the highs. Don't get too lows during the lows. Key to happiness is lies somewhere in the balance, and this can be applied through your personal life. There'll be ups and downs. Life is just a moment, make up moments. So to not get too high and too low. When change is the only constant in life is change. Cliche. And in terms of investments, the same. When you make an investment, you don't. There are times where you get the call right, or you get and sometimes you get it wrong. So obviously the the challenge is to get more calls correct than wrong. So yeah.
Okay,
That's what-
right. Next question. If you can have dinner party with any 4 people in the world, who's on your invite list?
I think this is a bit of a trick question, because I know my wife and kids are listening in, and if I don't mention their name, I probably won't get back into the house later on. So I'll go with them first,
Yeah.
my wife and kids, and then followed by my mom is a amazing cook, and my dad will have his life adventure stories, and my sister will keep me up to date all the latest trends and what's happening. So, but if you were to ask me family related,
yeah.
I probably, like I said, somebody like Warren Buffett to get his investment ideas, and things like that. So yeah.
All right, good. Okay, so who has inspired you in your career journey?
Okay, again, maybe I have to say, again, my parents. I think as growing up, my parents always say, to important things to follow what your interests are, and from a very young age, I think my interest has always been in investments, investments and maybe sports, So unfortunately, I couldn't make it as a sportsman. So I'm here today to give you investment advice. But yeah, so so in terms of inspiring me in my career journey, probably my parents are always making sure that to provide me the platform, to do what I like, what I enjoy to do.
Okay, talking about that, what's triggered you that you think investment is the best career that you should choose at the moment?
Yeah, I think everybody, investment is a part of life for most people, So I have the privilege to do it as a job, If let's say you were to buy a house, you would would want to go and see a few different houses, and like which area is good to buy. So part of investment job is something like that. We have to figure out which stocks or to buy, to generate the best return, and that is so that is where the passion or the interest is. So I've always had that from a very young age, and so I think that's naturally where I went down to that
So
career path. Yeah.
meaning you further your study in investment?
No, so I graduated with economics degree from Queen Mary University. So then I came out and I started work as an investment analyst. So during that, I was covering the plantation sector. So I get to know stocks or companies in that sector. And as you learn about the sector, you get familiarized yourself. So what is good about it, what is bad about it. So you become like an expert on it. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. If you could go back in times and speak to your 20-year-old self, what one piece of advice would you give yourself?
I said, going back to the same advice, like not, I said, don't get too highs during the highs and don't get too lows during the lows. I think, one of the, or something that one of the things that I watched was a while back was obviously this, Steve Jobs had a very good commencement speech, I think, in 2005, where he, recommended people to, follow their dreams, chase your passions, and keep the faith, So a lot of this, I think, is important, to do something that you enjoy. If you do something you enjoy, they say you'll never work a day in your life. So, down that route, and about, he also talked about connecting the dots, and you can't connect the dots forward, you can only connect it backwards. So it's some very good advice there. So I recommend everybody, it's on YouTube, and to watch that. And then my other second favorite one is probably this Baz Luhrmann, his advice on taking sunscreen. that's also a pretty good one.
Great. Okay. So, what is the best career decision you ever made?
Oh, okay. That's the easiest question so far. So the best career decision is obviously to join the Allianz investment team. I've been there for about just over 2 years now. Yeah, this.
What's the difference between Allianz and the
Oof.
companies before?
You're going to get me into trouble with that question. No, I think the important thing at Allianz is obviously the culture.
Yeah.
I think culture starts from the top. We are given a lot of responsibility, and for example, during the pandemic first started, the CEO came out to say that everybody's jobs is safe. You don't have to worry about your jobs. That's something that's very important to message to pass down to the staff. During the pandemic, they give us like care kits. Send us test kits. Vitamin tablets and things like that. So all these small things. The culture, and then in terms of the work environment. Yeah.
Great. Okay. How do you keep a healthy work-life balance?
Okay. Work less, I think. But I always get this question about also work-life balance, and I think investment also is something that is I feel a passion, and we do have our sometimes if we have to have calls with at night, it's although it's considered work, but if it's something that you enjoy doing and everything, then it's you don't look at it as work. It's something that you if you enjoy talking about investment or everything. So if you're doing it at 10 o'clock, is that considered work, or is that part of your hobby, your passion? So fortunate enough, like I said, to do this work where I enjoy doing. So something when we have calls at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, although it's still I think it's fun.
All right. Okay. All right. So since last year and last 2 years, we are in pandemic situations.
Sure.
I believe all of us are working from home. So you as a leader, how do you manage your staff while working from home?
Okay, so the pandemic, obviously, I think caught everybody by surprise in terms of it's something that happened on a very global scale. Not just a region. So caused a lot of people to adapt. I think with a lot of more virtual meetings. Work from home, to handle this. So, communication, I think, is key. I think a lot of staff would tell you that, to maintain open communication with the staff, and as long as everybody knows what their role is with the work and responsibility, then I think But the biggest change, obviously, is the physical, going to the office to have your colleague across the table, to have a chat. So that part, we missed. But in terms of getting used to, working from home and virtual meetings, I think after 2 years, people have sort of adapted to that.
Adapt with their situations. All right. Okay. So during the pandemic also, do you face any challenge in your career or in your work progress during work from home, and also despite you can meet up with people face to face and everything have to do it on virtual? For investment sector and for fund sector, do you face any challenges?
So I think, thankfully, at Allianz, the IT and system was very good, and we managed to remote and work from home, and everything's accessible from the house. So actually, the IT system and structure is very good. But I say so. The biggest challenge is really the face-to-face interaction with your colleagues, and having the discipline, obviously, when you're at home to make sure that you are doing work, right? So so I think those are the main challenges. The pros to it is obviously you get to plan your meetings a bit better. You don't you can have back-to-back meetings because you don't have to travel. That cuts out the traveling time and things like that. So the pros and cons to it, but obviously also being at the house maybe for long periods of time, for example, then you have other issues that arise from that, like mental health issues and things like that. So I think Allianz has been very in terms of always offering support. There's always interaction between like HR, always sending out surveys to check on the well-being of the staff. So I think those are very good initiatives by the company. Yeah.
Great, well done, Allianz Malaysia. All right, okay. Mr. Helmi, I think the rapid fire questions, we're done with that. Okay, now we move on to the long form questions. It's a very long questions. I need more answer and in-depth from you. Okay. So I think we got to learn a little bit about making as a senior fund manager. Now from the view of you for the insurance industry. Okay. So what drew you to insurance or in the insurance industry?
Okay. I think the insurance industry, maybe just a shout out to Allianz. I think, like for example, last year, Allianz gross written premium increased by about 7% last year. So the insurance industry tends to, it's a growing industry. And I think also in light with this pandemic, there's also more interest in terms of buying insurance. People find a need to insure themselves against obviously for health reasons, and I think that obviously going forward, people will also want to buy more insurance. So it's considered it's a growing, it's a stable industry. But investments, in that sense, also by nature, because of the nature of the insurance business, investments tend to be a bit more longer term in nature. So you have that period where you can invest a bit more comfortably, knowing that you have a bit more of a time frame, for the investment to perform.
All right. Okay. So, how have you invested in yourself in terms of training and professional development position to get where you are today?
Okay. So I think part of the job scope is that it requires you to always be updated on what's happening around the world, in the country, because obviously prices of stocks and shares will respond to news flow. So to be well read, to know as much, to be knowledgeable. And and part of for me, I've been in this industry for I say 18 years. I've managed different kinds of portfolios and mandates. Different people have different risk profiles. So that's something that is I feel that it's something that you can offer when you speak about investments.
All right. Okay. All right. Mr. Helmi, looks like we have a question from the audience. It's from Ili Najiha Muhammad Khalid. Okay. Nowadays, people have been saying that data is the new oil. How does this impact the insurance investment industry?
Okay. So I assume that you mean data, meaning information data. Okay. So obviously now I think like previously on this show, I think you had Vincent that spoke about digital, right? Digital. So I think one of the questions that always people ask also is what is the new technology and the old technology where like the new technology you can track how many people view your advertisement or what. So you get a lot of data points. So I think it's very relevant. I think it's a shift not just for the insurance industry but also across everybody's all these applications, social media and everything will definitely play a very big role in in the future of a lot of industries, especially insurance, where nowadays with an app you can access your investments. You can invest. You can check on your insurance information, everything. So I think that's something that it will definitely impact everybody in a lot of industries. So I hope I answered the question.
Ili, please let us know if Mr. Helmi didn't answer your questions.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. What is the culture like in the insurance industry?
Okay, so I think like obviously Allianz being a multinational, we get a lot of we get a lot of direction, obviously, from Germany, and what Allianz is big on is obviously in the like sustainability, climate change, ESG issues, which has Allianz started talking about it a couple of years ago, and now it's quite a hot topic, within the industry and everything. So that's the culture that we have, trying to find sustainability, and so that is more from a top down as well. So the culture at Allianz, like I said, is very everybody is very team oriented. I feel, and the direction everybody marches to is we're all in the same direction. We want to achieve this. We have the same goals, and everybody is trying to do it as a team. Yeah.
All right, great. Okay, what changes or innovations in the insurance industry are you most excited about?
Ooh, okay. So I think maybe going back to that, I think like I said, insurance industry is still considered very stable, still growing industry, and like I said, with this pandemic, it heightens people's awareness that the need to buy insurance. And I think if you speak to most people about insurance, they always say that it's better to start earlier than later.
Okay.
The earlier you start, so it's so cheaper. So that is something that I feel that and obviously, like I say, going back to digital, the digital space, being able to view, all your online, your premiums and things like that. That will be very important. And Allianz, I think we have also one of our famous, or not famous, well known is our road warriors. 24 hours road assistance. You can call anytime, and they will come and sort out your problems very fast. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Mr. Helmi, to be part of your team, what quality that you're looking for?
Okay. So qualities we look for in a person is probably someone with strong analytical skills. To be able to analyze, what is a good investment, what is not so good investment, or what's the better investment. So that's a skill that our criteria, which you can always see. You can have it, you can learn it over time. It's something that the more work you put in, the better you become at. Secondly, also to be passionate about investments itself.
Yeah.
If you're someone that's passionate about investments, you do very well, because then you'll be like a hobby for you. You will learn. I mean, you will just it's work, but you enjoy doing it. And probably thirdly is to be very, very lucky. So sometimes luck also plays a role.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Last questions. Okay. As an investment expert, what are the most important criteria to consider when investing? I believe some of our audience are out there. There are also, some now it's become a trend to start to invest and all that. So what are the most important criteria to consider when investing?
Sure. With obviously now with a lot of information available, online, a lot of there's people have become very, very knowledgeable, in terms of what to invest in and things. So going back to what investment, the question always is comes to, again, what is your risk profile? Always when people ask me what is good investment, I always like to ask them in return, what is your risk appetite? What kind of returns are you looking at? Obviously there's a risk reward where if you want a very high return, you have to take also a very, very high risk. So so generally the younger people tend to take a bit more risk, and the old people a bit more risk averse, so then something more stable. So, and I also like to also ask them, is there a particular sector that or particular business that you enjoy, or you like to or you're familiar with, or you like. So then I would recommend based on that, because then, you know, if let's say you are into, let's say, F&B, right? Then I will recommend some F&B, you know, companies where you can do your own research or your own read up on that, and then you can make an informed decision yourself whether, you know, you want to buy this company or not. Similarly for, you know, like funds, you know, there are different type of funds, different type of mandates. So you should always, you know, choose something that fits your, you know, what you are comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mr. Helmi, that was
Okay.
incredibly insightful. I had learned a lot from you. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Okay, Mr. Helmi, do you have any last words to the audience?
Sure. So again, maybe in regards to investments, you know, a good way to obviously invest is, you know, to do a dollar averaging, you know, where you know, consistently invest over time, and you know, that has proven throughout time to be a good way to invest over the long run. And also maybe a shout out to the Allianz investment team, you know, Hosing, JK, Fei, Peter, Pam, Ani, Sulin, you know, teamwork, you know, makes the dream work.
Yeah. Teamwork. All right.
And yeah.
Okay. Looks like we have one more questions in the chat.
Sure.
From Shahira Hashim. Hi, Mr. Helmi. What is your advice to young talent who inspire to be a good investment analyst?
Okay. Yep. Thanks for the question. Actually, we have also recently we recently were looking for a junior analyst to join our team. You know, so we've conducted some interviews. You know, and this question comes up very often. You know, what is the criteria? What's the candidate? So again, going back to what I mentioned a bit earlier, someone that has a bit of a passion for investment. That I think that must come. That must be something that you enjoy to do, and then that will be like your a hobby. You know, you won't look at it as work anymore. You know, so a passion for investment is key. Secondly, someone that is driven. You know, willing to learn about new things, learn about different industries. So that is also very important. The more you read, the more you learn, the faster, the better, the more knowledgeable you'll be. So those are probably the two most important, most important criteria.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you have it. We hope you all learned as much as I did here and had a great time with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Helmi, for joining us also. Thank you for being with us for the last 14 episode. Today is the last episode of the Insurance Discovery Show. We hope to see you in the next season. Maybe just follow us on our social media to get the latest update. Thank you so much, everyone. We hope to see you again next time.
Okay. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.